Are you having trouble lifting things? Does your back, neck, or shoulder hurt at the end of the day? Do your friends or coworkers look awkward or uncomfortable when they lift? You need the hip hinge. The hip hinge is the revolutionary new solution you need to solve all your lifting problems. It's so easy, even a baby can do it. To get your very own hip hinge, call 561-799-3207. Operators are standing by. Call now.
Stop and think about all the things you've lifted today. This doesn't just mean big, heavy objects. It could mean something as simple as bending over to pick up your shoes. We lift and move things all day. While it seems simple, doing it the wrong way can result in long-term consequences. To learn more, we visited one of our offices in Durham, North Carolina, to hear different perspectives on how lifting affects our people, both in and out of the workplace.
I typically lift stuff every single day.
My job generally has a lot of lifting for various materials, whether they're big or small.
Every time you lift incorrectly, you put your body at risk. Eventually, your luck will run out. Although some lifting injuries can be minor sprains, strains, or discomfort, they add up and can quickly escalate to serious conditions you may never recover from. Hernias and spinal disc injuries can happen to you in an instant, even if you're young. Correcting these types of injuries often requires costly surgeries that immobilize you for months and can have a long-term impact on your quality of life.
I was just restacking some pallets. I was on the third pallet and I ended up throwing out my back. It hurt for 3 months.
I haven't personally injured my back, but I've seen people do things that throw their back out of whack and try to learn from those things and not do what they did.
Yeah, it hurt. Every morning getting up out of bed, it was awful.
It's easy to fall into the habit of lifting the wrong way. In fact, without proper training and awareness, most of us naturally lift in a way that puts our bodies at risk. Often, we bend from the waist, lift things above the chest, or twist our bodies to carry objects. So how do you lift properly every time so you can avoid painful, life-altering injuries? Use the hip hinge. The hip hinge is a technique used to keep good form whenever you need to pick something up. Let's see the hip hinge in action. Start by standing close to the object with your feet shoulder width apart. Next, hinge at the hips and bend at the knees, keeping your back straight and neck in a neutral position throughout. At the lowest point before you lift, your thighs should be almost parallel to the ground with your back still straight and neck neutral. Grip the object firmly and begin to lift by driving upward using just your legs. It's critical that your back and neck remain straight during this step. Continue to lift until you're fully upright again. The hip hinge can't solve all of your lifting problems. Some things are just too heavy or awkward for one person to handle safely on your own. Luckily, the hip hinge can easily be used while doing a team lift for those lifts too. Keep in mind, anytime you use a team lift, make sure you have a plan. Know where you're going and who's moving where. Still too heavy? Don't risk an injury. Use lift equipment or contact your supervisor.
I was opening manholes, but that manhole was really stuck to its housing. When I try and go up with it, that's when I pull something in my back. And what really affected me was not being able to carry my son and do the stuff at home. Especially coming here, being on light duty, it's not really a good feeling having a hurt back because you really can't do much and it makes you feel like you ain't worth nothing.
This is why body positioning is so important while working, especially when you are doing strenuous tasks like pulling fiber or lashing cable. Avoid twisting, turning, and overreaching to keep your body from getting into awkward positions. That's right. A strain injury from overreaching or twisting at the waist can not only put you out of work, but can have a lasting impact on your quality of life.
Once you place your order, you can start hip hinging right away. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Feet apart and close to what you want to lift. 2. Hip hinge while you bend your knees to get lower. And 3, keep your back straight as you show off your brand new hip hinge as you finish lifting. You've only got one body to do all the great stuff you do, so use the hip hinge to avoid pains and strains that can slow you down. We've got your back. Do you have yours? Thanks, hip hinge.
Headway, it's how we do safety differently.